And I could stand here and tell you all kinds of stories about people that are in prison that don't belong there. They just don't belong there. Just one. Let me give you one. A guy down in Houston, older guy, about my age, maybe a little older. He had some warehouses, and he had 4 warehouses, and that's all he did was warehouse. A friend of his asked him if he could store a couple pallets of materials in his warehouse. He said, sure, no problem. He said, I won't even charge you for it. So the guy brought in a couple pallets. Next thing you know, the feds are banging on the door. They broke the door down, broke into the place. They found some drugs on the pallets. And since this poor guy owned the warehouses, they gave him 22 years on a drug charge. This is typical of what's actually going on down there. There was another case where a guy was there in prison. He said his son wanted to borrow 10 grand from him. He says, I would loan my son money from time to time. He said, 15,000, 5,000, 10,000. He's always paid me back. This is no big deal. However, this time, the son bought some dope, and it was learned later that he got the money from his dad. His dad didn't have a clue what he was wanting the money for. Didn't ask him, trusted his son. And he got 18 years because he financed a drug purchase. Didn't have nothing to do with it. I run across these stories every day. Every day. 90% of the people in prison, at least in the low security like Texarkana was, just low security, they don't belong there. They didn't commit a crime. They did not commit a crime. Literally did not even come close to committing a crime. I just find it amazing.
I read some of Alexander Solzhenitsyn's works. I'm vertically disadvantaged. His Gulag work and all of the thing, and he said when he got through with his stay in the Soviet system's prison, he was unable to raise a level of respect for anyone in the system. He didn't care whether it was a bailiff of the court or a guard or a parole officer. He said, you can't be a part of the system and have any self-respect. Even though you might be uninformed, you're a part of a terrible system of tyranny. And I wondered, do you share Solzhenitsyn's lack of respect for people in a criminally tyrannical system?
All right, thanks. That's a good question. Spending 7 years in prison and talking to a lot of people that, of course, were there with me, you look at the class of people that are there, and you look at the class of people that are controlling those people, which are the guards. And you learn very quickly that the guards, how can I say this? They seem to be one of 2 classes. One is a very minimum IQ level. The second one is that they're sadistic, and they very much love to control people, and they like to hurt people. And I feel bad saying that, but they do. I've watched these guys come in and mill around and talk to each other before they actually come into the facility. And when they cross that line and they meet their first inmates, their whole character changes. And they literally become sadistic. They become very bossy. They want to control everything, and there's no need for that.